Hi, and welcome to another part of the series Power Up. Maybe you watched the first one, Load Data. Now we come to Transform Data and Data Models. Okay, before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Catherine. I'm managing partner of UWI, and I'm also founder of the user groups Colors of Fabric and Power Platform User Group Hamburg. You can find the files you need on GitHub on my repository. It is linked in the description below. And you can write me an email if you want. You can go on my blog page where I have some fun games. And you can also go on LinkedIn where you find Power BI tips every day. Or you can also follow me here on YouTube. And if not, hit the subscribe button. Okay, enough for me. Now let's jump directly into our next tutorial. As you know, this tutorial Power Up is based on my Power BI report in 1 hour. So if you watched that, this is an extension. So I will talk a bit more about the different parts you saw in the Power BI report in 1 hour. Today it's the Power Query part, and now I will explain why it is interesting to think about a data model. So creating out of your Excel file a model. And yeah, so let's jump in our Power BI file from the last time. So if you already watched the first video, load data, that's good. So we loaded data from a folder. If not, maybe you should watch this one first. It's also only 15 minutes, so it doesn't take very long. And yes, now we open the file again so that we can work on it. And if you're not sure how you can go now to transform data, it's very simple. I will close this one. You see, I already, it is from the last time, if you remember. And you can go on transform data in the ribbon bar above and click on it. And then a Power Query editor will open and now you can work with your data. Okay, I see that I didn't rename the name of the table, which is not good. Naming conventions are very important. So remember, don't do the same mistake as me. So name your tables right. So you can double click on it and then you can simply put in a name. So for example, spending or spendings would be better. Click again and it's spendings. Okay, could also put in groceries or whatever. Okay, so now a very important question I got all the time is, why do I need a data model? I have this beautiful table. That's right, but think about the future, the upcoming columns. So what if you get now, for example, the supermarket as column and the vendor and the person who gets groceries. So you can expand this table, right? And it's getting bigger and bigger, and then maybe it's not that easy anymore to maintain. And of course, you can put in the names milk, tea, and so on. But every time you buy something, you have to write it down, right? So, and maybe there are some errors in the writing, so you have typos or there's a format error. And to avoid this, we create a data model. Also, regarding performance, this is also a very important point. But the one point which is also very, very critical is that you can make mistakes. So if you have one table and you write everything in one table, of course it is possible that you can do mistakes. So instead of milk with a K, you write it within a CK or whatever. And then the calculation isn't correct anymore. So that's why we will create a very simple and small model. And this is a conceptual model. So if we have to think, how can we cut or slice this big flat table in pieces? So we have here our spendings in general. And what can we put in a separate table. So for example, if I think of items in category, this would make perfect sense in a product table, so that I can link my products to my spendings. And of course, I can also create a data table if I want. In this case, we won't do that because in the third part of the series, I will explain DAX, data analytic expression. And for this, I will create a data table in DAX to explain a bit the filter context, measures, calculated columns, calculated tables, and so on. But now back to our data model and to our transformation. So if you want to transform things, so now the path is hopefully clear. So we will slice it into items, categories, and the spendings overall. So our fact table is the spendings, and then we will create a dimension which called products, in which we will put the items in the category. For this, normally you create a folder and put it in a group, move to group, there it is, and then we can say new group, and then you can say this is a staging area. So normally this table won't be touched. So this is the raw data. And then we can create copies out of our raw data. So simply right click, and then you can say duplicate. We need 2 duplicates because we want to create the spending table, the fact table, and the dimension, the product table. Okay, we mark both of these tables, right click and say move to group, and then we can say new group. And this will be the transform folder in which we now can transform our data. So normally, if it comes to data modeling, there are a thing called normal form, and it says in the first stage that every element has to be in one cell. So there shouldn't be more than one element in one cell. In our case, in category, this is one thing because fruits and vegetables is one category for us. So we could also split it, of course, but we don't need to. The same thing with product numbers. Maybe product numbers contain a name of the product and the size and so on. So this could also be, this is possible. And the second one is, so the second stage of the normal form is to slice it. And that's what we will do now. So the first thing is we rename it. So it's spendings, of course, but it's not spendings 2, so it is spendings. Okay, yeah, we have already spendings, so let's name it. Let's do it old school and name it fact spendings. So we know it is our fact table. And the second one will be our products. And in our products, we will now separate items and categories. Click on it, on the header, mark them, and right click and say remove duplicates. So, oh, that was not right. This was one step too far. First, I want to remove the other columns. And now we remove the duplicates, because otherwise we have duplicates here, and in the dimension tables the item in this case is our granularst value or item, and this should be only once in our dimension table. Means I go on items and click on remove duplicates. And you see our list shortens, and now we have only 31 rows. Before we had 144. So now the duplicates are gone. And now we need a link to link our products to our fact table. And this we can do with indexes. You can go on add column in the menu above, and there is a point index column. If you click on it, you get an index. I would rename it because index is not very, specific. So I would name it product ID. Okay. And now you see we can use this as key to put the link in our fact spendings. And how we can do this, I will show you now. Click on the fact spendings on the left side. Choose in the menu Home. And in the ribbon bar on the right side, you find Merge Queries. Click on it. And there you can choose your products. And the first thing is the fact spendings, because you are already in it. And now you can choose the item and the item. And you see that we have 144 of 144 rows are matching in our spending table, which is good. And then we can click on OK. And we get a separated or a new column. And there we can click on the right side on these little arrows. And we choose here not everything, only the product ID. And we can also hide the prefix. Doesn't look very good. So we don't need it. Click on OK. And then we have our product IDs here now in our fact table. Now we don't need the items and the categories anymore, so we can mark them. Very simple, and click on delete. And that's it. That's our fact table. And as you can remember, every time if you create a fact table, you have only numbers in it. So for example, whole numbers, decimal numbers, the date, and so on. And the fact tables normally have only numbers, and the dimension normally have text in it. Of course, one column with the index, so or the surrogate key, as it's called, because you have no own key here. You created one, and this created one called surrogate key, and this is now the primary key for your product table. The primary key of your fact spendings, doesn't need a fact spending primary key, because all the keys go into our fact table, so we don't need to link it back. And now we have our foreign key, which is the product ID. This is called foreign key because it's not the primary key, because it is linked to our product table. Okay, last thing we have to do is we have to make sure that only the tables we have now in the transform stage, we could also now create a new folder which is called load, reference our tables, and then we could load them. But time issues, we don't do that. We go on the left side, click on spendings. We say enable load, otherwise the spending tables will be loaded as well. And then you have duplicates here. We don't want duplicates. Okay, then you can, one little hint. If you want, you can do other things in Power Query as well. You can, for example, create parameters to switch data sources. You can create functions. And if you want to see what functions Power Query has, you can create on the left side, click on it in the gray area, say new query, and say blank query. And then there's a little trick. You can put in the formula bar equals hashtag shared. And this will call all the functions you have in Power Query. So you have an overview of all your functions you can use in Power Query. Good thing, you get a little function link where you see examples. So if you click on one of these functions, for example, not parameters, but let me go a bit down. There are so many. I don't know every function, I have to say, but let's take this table view function. You can click on it, and then it says create a function that can be incepted by a handler defined on a view via table view. Okay, we could put in there something, and we can also read the text. So there's an example and a text most of the time that explains this function. So we don't need that for our current code, so you can delete it. You can also keep it, but have in mind that it will be loaded as well. So let's delete this one. So not the function itself, but the overview of all the shared items, all the shared functions. And we click on apply, close and apply on the left under home, and then everything will load and takes a moment. It's not that much data, but sometimes you know, Power BI needs a bit. And then you see the data will be loaded, and then you see everything is in it. And we have our fact spendings, our product. And if you want to check if everything is connected correctly, you can go on the left, click on modeling data, and then you see between products and fact spendings the line, which is the relationship between these both tables. And you see product ID. On product ID, you can click on the line, check again if everything is correct, and that's it. So now we have our tables here, and in the next time I will show you how you can model your data model further with a bit DAX. So we will create some measures, and of course we will create the data table and I will tell you a bit about DAX. So that's it for this part. Hope you maybe already saw my data escape room, which you have different challenges you can go through, and one of the challenges is the missing data room. I guess it's called data, and you can go there and also model a bit and create fact tables, dimensions, and so on. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and maybe we see us in the next part. And till then, bye bye.